the next one we will talk about gender socialization at school. So, girls and boys are frequently put in the same-sex groups and assigned gender stereotype tasks like playing with dolls or trucks. So, this is what I am going to explain to you, that at school we often have activities that are matching our sex. So, it's like girls playing with dolls and boys playing with trucks. So, the next slide would be at workplace. Gender is socialized through media messages, school instruction, family expectation, and experiences in the workplace. The process of gender socialization continues as adolescents enter the workforce. So the next slide would be with peers. The gender roles that have been identified and given to the office workers from the fieldwork show that the office is male-dominated. So when it comes to companies, business companies, we often see male bosses, or the CEO is a boy, and that the female employees must act in a way that is submissive and passive to their male co-workers who have been labeled as authoritative figures to the females of the office. So the male ones are the most dominant ones when it comes to workplaces. So we often see when it comes to stories, like their boss is the male one and the female is the secretary, like that. So we often read stories like this in Wattpad stories. So this is how it really is. And the next one would be something like, I forgot about it, but let me go to the other slide. It is now with mass media. Children learn about gender roles through the media, television, books, radio, magazines, and newspapers, which they are exposed to every day in addition to their intentional efforts of parents and instructors. So the next slide will be gender discrimination. Gender discrimination is an equal or disadvantageous treatment of an individual or group of individuals based on gender. So this is sexual harassment, which is a form of illegal gender discrimination. So our next slide would be gender inequality. Gender inequality is discrimination on the basis of sex or gender, causing one sex or gender to be routinely privileged or prioritized over another. So the next slide, we will now talk about the examples: misgendering or mispronouncing. Sorry for the wrong spelling here. So purposefully using the wrong gender identity or pronouns to address someone. Having limited access to all genders' restroom. Disfavoring someone based on gender. Using crude and harmful language based on their gender or gender expression. Intimidating someone based on their gender. So I know something about this, having limited access to all gender restrooms, because I know some people tend to be uncomfortable when it comes to using restrooms of a trans woman. So for example, you're a trans woman, so you are biologically at birth, normal at birth, you are a man, and you became a trans woman, so you treat yourself as a woman now, so you want to use the restroom. So some people would not really want you to use the restroom that you want to go to because they are uncomfortable. So here in misgendering or mispronouncing, we often call trans women or transgender people on how we see them. So if it's a trans woman and you know that naturally he is a man, you will call it, or you can call him or her sir, like that. So if it's a trans man, you see the person as a woman before, so you will call, some people would call them sir or ma'am. It depends on the person on how they will really call them. So this is the examples that we have in our slide. So I hope you understand and that you know you should bear in mind these examples that I have for you, because this is really typically like normal to see on examinations when it comes to this subject. So I am really a Bachelor of Science in Information Systems student, second year, and this is our first semester subject, Gender and Society. So the next slide will be Laws in Sexual Harassment, RA 7877, the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. So it was approved on the date February 14, 1995, and it took effect on March 5, 1995. So we have this law. So you should never ever sexually harass someone because we have this law. Gender sensitivity is the act of being aware of the ways people think about gender. So in language and the humanities, this is often expressed through people's language choice. People can choose more inclusive language that doesn't define gender and many new words that are gender neutral. So this is gender sensitivity. So this is our last slide. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me before we go? You could leave a comment below and like, share, and subscribe.